The last 24 hours have been quite eventful. Prime Minister Modi and President Putin have met twice, first for dinner on Monday and then today for the annual India-Russia summit. They reviewed the entire spectrum of the bilateral relationship, from the war in Ukraine to defense, trade and energy. All of it was discussed. They resolved some pressing issues, and the visit ended on a high for the Indian Prime Minister. He was honoured with Russia's highest civilian award, the Order of St. Andrew the Apostle. He was awarded for his contributions to the India-Russia relationship. In fact, the award was announced in 2019, but the ceremony could not happen then because Prime Minister Modi had to postpone his visit. So he was formally given the honour today. Russia has conferred the same award on Xi Jinping as well. The Chinese president received it in 2017. 2 years later, Moscow honoured Prime Minister Modi. And by doing this, Putin is sending an important message that his relationship with India is as important as his ties with China. And the West has been watching these developments closely, not without sharp reactions. Tonight, we'll tell you all about it. The day began with formal engagements, the India-Russia delegation-level talks, co-chaired by Prime Minister Modi and President Putin. The tone for today's summit was set last evening when Putin hosted Modi for dinner. This was an informal meeting, the dinner meeting, at the Russian President estate outside Moscow. And the chemistry between the two leaders was evident. President Putin welcomed Prime Minister Modi with a hug.
Hello.
There were several such moments. The Russian president took the Indian Prime Minister on a tour of his dacha or estate, and they were seen riding a golf cart together. Putin even introduced Modi to his pet horses. Social media was full of memes comparing this reception to the long table treatment that Western leaders get in Moscow of late. Evidently, the Russian leader attaches great significance to his relationship with India, and this was abundantly clear when both leaders sat down for discussions.
आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, परम दोस्त, आपका स्वागत है, हार्दिक स्वागत है। आपको देखने से मुझे बड़ी खुशी है।
Официальные разговоры у нас состоятся завтра.
औपचारिक बातचीत कल होने वाली है।
А сегодня мы можем в такой домашней обстановке спокойно поговорить, наверное, о тех же вопросах, но неофициально. Но вначале хотел бы вас поздравить с переизбранием на должность премьер-министра. У вас свои идеи, вы очень энергичный человек, вы умеете добиваться результатов в интересах Индии и индийского народа.
तरह के घर आना वो अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ा खुशी का अवसर होता है, और मुझे आपने अपने घर पर निमंत्रित किया और आज की शाम हम साथ में गप्पे मारे, इसलिए आपने तय किया। इस कार्यक्रम की रचना के लिए और मुझे घर पे बुलाने के लिए मैं आपका बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ।
After this exchange, Modi and Putin were left alone with their translators for a freewheeling chat. They discussed important issues like the war in Ukraine. Prime Minister Modi told President Putin a solution will not be found on the battlefield. And this is a very significant statement. It is a direct appeal from India to end the war in Ukraine. It is also in line with what Modi told Putin back in 2022 when they'd met in Uzbekistan on the sidelines of the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit. That's when Modi told Putin, and I'm quoting, "This is not the era of war." And yesterday, he urged the Russian leader to explore diplomatic options. The same message was reiterated during the formal summit today as well.
एक्सेलेंसी, एक मित्र के नाते मैंने हमेशा कहा है कि हमारी भावी पीढ़ी के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए शांति सर्वाधिक आवश्यक है। लेकिन मैं ये भी जानता हूं कि युद्ध के मैदान में समाधान संभव नहीं होते। बम, बंदूक और गोलियों के बीच समाधान और शांति वार्ताएं सफल नहीं होती हैं, और हमने वार्ता के माध्यम से ही शांति के रास्ते अपनाने होंगे।
So India is pushing for peace and talks. India is also clear that these talks must include Russia, which explains why New Delhi did not endorse the Swiss declaration last month. I'm referring to the Ukraine Peace Summit. Switzerland had hosted it in June. More than 90 countries participated in the summit. India too sent a representative. But Russia was not invited to this summit in Switzerland. So India refused to sign the joint communique. It said that there can be no meaningful and sustainable resolution without Moscow's presence. This was India's message to the West. At the same time, it is asking Russia to abide by the United Nations Charter, to respect Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Prime Minister Modi addressed this with President Putin, and that's the biggest highlight of this visit. He also raised the issue of the repatriation of Indian citizens, those serving in Russian forces. Reports say there are at least 40 such Indians stuck in Russia. They were tricked by agents into joining the Russian forces. And India has been trying to secure their release. Yesterday, there was a breakthrough. President Putin agreed to discharge all Indian citizens. There were agreements on some other key issues as well, like on trade, where both countries have set an ambitious target. Bilateral trade currently stands at $65 billion. They want to raise it all the way up to $100 billion by 2030. And this trade relationship is heavily skewed in Russia's favor, mainly due to India's oil purchases. We buy a lot of oil from Russia. To fix this imbalance, India has sought greater market access from Russia. On the defense front, India had a specific concern. We talked about this yesterday. The delay in deliveries. Many Russian supplies are running late. They're yet to deliver 2 S-400 missile defense systems. Prime Minister Modi is believed to have raised this, asking for speedy deliveries. India is also investing more in its partnership with Russia. Today, the Prime Minister made an announcement that India will open 2 more consulates in Russia, in Kazan and Yekaterinburg. So overall, it was a productive visit for Prime Minister Modi. India managed to secure its strategic interests with a vital partner. India also asserted its strategic autonomy and asked for an end to the war. But not everyone is thrilled about this visit. Like the United States, which is reacting on expected lines, yesterday it said that it was concerned about Prime Minister Modi's engagements with Russia.
There's another visitor in Moscow today, Prime Minister Modi of India. Obviously India has a long-standing relationship with Russia. What do you think of the timing of this right before the NATO summit and in light of what's going on?
We would urge India, as we do any country when it engages with Russia. India is a strategic partner with whom we engage in a full and frank dialogue, and that includes on our concerns about their relationship with Russia.
Ukraine's President Zelensky added to this. He called Putin a quote-unquote criminal. He said Prime Minister Modi's engagements undermine the peace efforts for Ukraine. In a statement, Zelensky referred to yesterday's airstrikes on Kiev, where a children's hospital was hit. But both the US and Ukraine spoke too soon. They should have waited for the Indian Prime Minister to speak, because he too raised yesterday's airstrikes with Putin.
में विश्वास करने वाला हर व्यक्ति जब जानहानि होती है तब बहुत पीड़ित होता है, लेकिन उसमें भी जब मासूम बच्चों की कत्ल होती है, मासूम बच्चों को मरते हुए देखते हैं, तब हृदय छलनी हो जाता है और वो दर्द बहुत भयानक होता है। और इस विषय में भी आपसे विस्तार से चर्चा हुई।
Now that's a strong message. Clearly, India is advocating for the protection of civilians in Ukraine, especially the children. Prime Minister Modi is probably the first world leader to take up yesterday's attack directly with the Russian president. He also tackled another tricky issue, India's oil purchases from Russia. Prime Minister Modi countered the Western criticism of these purchases.
दुनिया के अनेक देशों के नागरिकों को पेट्रोल डीजल के कारण बहुत बड़े संकट से गुजरना पड़ा और आज भी गुजरना पड़ रहा है, लेकिन हमारे उस कारोबार के कारण हम भारत के नागरिकों को पेट्रोल डीजल के इस मार से बचा पाए, इन्फ्लेशन से बचा पाए और स्टेबिलिटी भी ला पाए। इसके लिए भी मैं आपका आभार व्यक्त करता हूं।
In diplomacy, the choice of words is everything. Prime Minister Modi's statements demonstrate how skillfully India balances its ties between Russia and the West. It's a tough balance to maintain But India must do it to protect its national interest, and so far New Delhi has done it well.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for our future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished. On this today, the T20 World Cup Bangladesh will be crossed to the West Indies.